And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And I'm glad to be here with George. George, how are you?
Good morning, sir. Couldn't be better. Better than I deserve.
Did you have a good weekend?
Had a great weekend. Started Thursday. Went to Highlands, North Carolina for a night. Had dinner at the Madison restaurant at the old Edwards Inn. That's a favorite of ours. We do that a couple of times every year. So it was a good weekend. It was cool up there. No rain, no wind, just a beautiful day.
George, glad to be back. I enjoyed getting to talk to Jennifer, staying connected to the Trump campaign, seeing what's going on there. There's a lot of things I didn't get a chance to go over this morning. I want to touch on, and I know, but here's something that I think the American people need to pay attention to. And there's the little things that get off the radar screen. They get overshadowed by Hillary coughing. They get overshadowed. Now, people don't get upset. They get overshadowed by Hillary coughing. They get overshadowed by the Zika virus. Everybody in America, you need to pay attention to your Secretary of State. Secretary of State. Every single individual in your state, your Secretary of State. Your Secretary of State certifies your election. That's right. Remember the hanging chads in Florida? What happened? The Secretary of State certified the Florida election results. When the Secretary of your state certifies your election results, they are then sent to the Electoral College, right? Mm-hmm. And they are sent there as the certified results of your state.
And that's it.
And your Electoral College, and that's where we have in our lifetime a Supreme Court that took over. Remember?
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court was actually their job was to validate her certification. Was the certified election results, whatever. So the point I'm making is, interesting enough, fast forward to this upcoming election, Obama's set to take control of all voting machines in America. Now, for those of you that, miss Donald Trump, for those of you that miss George W. Bush, I, for one, do not. I wish him well. I don't think he's a bad guy. I would prefer him today over Obama.
Over what we got, yeah.
But let's not forget where we got our favorite Homeland Security. Okay? There are 16. They are planning to they want to scan. The federal government wants to scan every election machine in the United States to check for areas that can be hacked because they're concerned with all this hacking. I'm not for sure that everything that has been taking place methodically there's not something behind it.
Well, they want to check for machines that haven't been hacked so they can hack them and confirm the 100% results like they do in Philadelphia.
Brian Kemp, the Secretary of State of Georgia, he pushed back on Homeland Security, and he said, Kemp to serve on national elections cybersecurity panel. Cybersecurity panel for national elections scares the absolute hell out of me.
It's crap.
Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp was named Wednesday to work with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security on cybersecurity risks to the election and voting systems. The National Association of Secretaries of States, National Association of Secretaries of States, appointed Kemp and 3 other Secretary of States to a federal agency election infrastructure cybersecurity working group. Secretaries of State are committed to working with our federal partners to increase awareness of federal government cybersecurity resources and services that are available to election officials. Okay, now, what concerns me is Kemp really pushed back on the government at first. So he He was the nationally got his name out there, nationally known as the guy that stepped up and pushed back. So they felt what do you do with somebody like that? Oh, you bring them in. And you put them on
the team.
Right?
Put them on the team.
We're going to bring you in so you can help watch and make sure we're on the up and up. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to give George, I know we haven't had a lot of time. He can use the time for his final thoughts or anything he wants to discuss. George, I didn't mean to go there. It's something I didn't want to leave today. It's bothered me with this. The government wants to scan all our computers, and I think these are the little things that are under here.
That's right.
That we got to watch.
And they're starting to be exposed. People are looking at it. People are starting to watch the Clinton disintegration over these more emails, the multiple phones that were destroyed by her staff after they had been subpoenaed with hammers. WikiLeaks say they're going to come out with things that will end the campaign for Hillary Clinton. This woman belongs in prison. She does not belong as President and Chief Executive of the United States or Commander-in-Chief of the military. America has been brought to its knees by the Obama administration. The ultimate humiliation, and he's still got a few months to go and he'd be humiliated again, occurred in China. And I talked about that. We saw
He had to go out the back door.
the changing of the guard. And that's what I called this particular essay. Yesterday, or a couple of days ago, a bevy of world leaders descended on China to participate in the G20 summit. China is this year's host country. China and the Chinese hate to lose face by committing social errors, inadvertent or otherwise, when those errors can be anticipated and provided for. Chinese will anguish over their faux pas until such time as the errors can be put right in honor or their face can be restored. Such an incident, one without precedent, occurred in China upon the arrival of President Obama. When our legacy-minded buffoon of a president arrived in his big, expensively operated airplane, the Chinese apparently declined to roll out the exit gangway so Obama could deplane in honor and glory to cheers and adulation. By the way, that was also the red carpet gangway, and every other head of state came down the red carpet stairway and on the red carpet to be greeted by the Chinese government. The whole tawdry event necessitated Obama's exit from his airborne palace through the servants' entrance to stand shamelessly embarrassed on the hot tarmac. So much for honor and glory. The Chinese, well, they're not anguishing. Their reaction, oh, so sorry, get over it. They sent a message to Obama and to the world of who was now in charge. It was a public changing of the guard, and the world was watching. Such an affront to any world leader is an unprecedented for its callousness and daring, and any world leader worth his reputation would have immediately ordered the flight crew to plot a course home, fire up the engines, and get the heck out of there. And that's how the game is played. The Chinese did not make a mistake. They made a calculated guess that Obama, already a recognized incompetent weakling, would cave into their insult, and sure enough, he did. China won. Oh, those rascally Chinese can be ruthless in their politics, can't they? Most of us remember the Reykjavik summit between Premier Gorbachev of the Soviet Union and Ronald Reagan over the simple little matter of Reagan introducing a few piddly American cruise missiles into Europe to confront the USSR's inability to financially respond. Gorbachev, it will be recalled, made a negotiated demand that Reagan knew wouldn't and couldn't be met. In response, President Reagan announced that there was apparently no need for further talks, got up from the table and said, "Let's go home," and he did. The diplomatic world was stunned by such diplomatic depravity, but soon thereafter, The USS came crashing down. The USSR came crashing down, as both Ronald Reagan and Maggie Thatcher knew it would. And a few years later, after that great victory over socialism and communism, we now have an incompetent, wastrel, apologist president undoing all the good works that came before him. Clearly, the Chinese were paying attention. Obama wasn't. China's insult has immediately changed the dynamics of any further negotiations between Obama and any other world leader. He might as well quit right now and let Joe Biden have a go, because anything that comes out of the G20 summit or any meeting he may have hereafter, will probably be suspect. It will certainly be criticized and probably ignored, especially the silly notion of world climate change. Obama's legacy as a gifted foreign affairs politician, already in tatters, will now and forever be firmly etched in the textbooks of college courses everywhere as a pitiful example of diplomatic incompetence and failed leadership. Ronald Reagan's diplomatic achievements, on the other hand, will shine as the greatest example of political leadership by any captain of any world nation in modern times. His example should and could be emulated. Thomas Jefferson said it best: weakness invites insult and injury, and Obama just proved it. Remember, freedom is the goal, and the Constitution is the way. Now go get them. It's your turn.
Thank you, George. Folks, do you really feel out there that Hillary Clinton will be the one that can restore the respect for this country around the world? I think not. Let me say this. You know, the United States, the President of the United States is supposed to be the leader of the free world. And I think the President of the United States is still the leader of the free world. And I think they will continue to be the leader of the free world. The problem is, it's no longer a free world. That's the problem. What are they the leader of, and what are we allowing to happen? So leader of the free world doesn't mean a whole lot, and Obama had to get out of the back of the plane. Hey, it's Tuesday. What's that mean? Inspirational Moments with our good friend Oscar Poole. Lonnie, show the picture. I'm up here this morning, Lonnie and I are getting ready, and who shows up? Look at the pigmobile was right outside. Oscar was here. Oh. Lonnie said, I hear somebody knocking on the front door.
He put new rubber bands in it and twisted them up.
Yeah, he got his rubber bands fixed in the pigmobile. I like that. But yeah, and it oinks too. Lonnie, have you ever heard it oink? Yeah. Yeah, the pigmobile oinks. So Oscar shows up here. It wasn't knocking on the door, but that is at take the pigmobile down. Oscar, Inspirational Moments with our good friend Oscar Poole this morning on Tuesday, and at 10 o'clock. America's behavior expert, the Scott Farrell Show, so you're going to stay tuned for that. Folks, let me say something here that may hit home, may get me in trouble, but heck, I haven't, that's not stopped me yet.
Again? Are you done with the Fannin Court thing?
No, I'm not done with that. This is, you know, let me say something here. Gilmer County, because I want to say this, because nationally, if you're in Seattle, California, regardless of where you're at, you're in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida, anywhere in the United States, this should hit home for you. Now, Gilmer County school system decided Saturday that they would release their football coach, the Gilmer Bobcats football head coach, Jason Galt. And they've released Coach Galt, and he's no longer the head coach, and they have replaced him with Casey Wingard. Casey Wingard, congratulations. We wish him well. And we do wish the team well. But what catches me off guard the most is the uproar on social media over this coaching decision. And the lack of uproar on people raising your taxes. Now, I, for one, am always on the sideline on Friday night watching high school football. Can't wait to get there. Love every minute of it. And I like college football. And I'll no longer really watch the NFL and Kaepernick and all the thugs. I'm pretty much through with that. But I like college football as much as the next guy or lady out there wearing a jersey, and I like my Friday night football. But if we just get as concerned about your local taxes in Gilmer County going up as you were on how great the football program was and who would be the next coach. Now, I understand. I support the kids all the way, not trying to get myself in trouble. Just wish some of the social media uprising would be about property taxes. Just saying. Just something I thought about. Panic in Brooklyn. Trump's up 2% nationally and 20% among independents. There is panic in Brooklyn, 62 days. The C word, yes. She had a coughing fit, all right?
Both on stage and in the airplane.
Yes, in the airplane, had a coughing fit. Let's look at a couple quick things here, George. The Clinton campaign has already spent about $200 million before Labor Day. Trump has basically spent zero, and he's neck and neck in the polls. They're in a mess. They are in a mess. They spent neck and neck in the polls. They've spent $200 million. Florida, George, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, virtually tied. Striking distance in the Pennsylvania area and in the Michigan. Those are all striking distance. And I got a lot of video and pictures this weekend. They're working hard in PA. They are working PA. So they're in trouble. $200 million to be even.
That was a good picture of your mom out there holding the Trump
My
sign.
my niece, 16 years old. She's waving the American flag. Mother holding the
Standing
Trump.
out there waiting to be shot, it looked like. Nobody around him.
Well, they were on a very busy intersection. That's a very busy intersection.
That makes a difference.
Very busy intersection where they were at. But, I'll tell you one thing that's interesting is when you talk about Pennsylvania, they all say Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. If you're outside the state, Pittsburgh, they had a parade. And they had an enormous turnout in this little town called Pen Argyl, PA. Pen Argyl.
Pen Argyl, yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that Pen Argyl, Pennsylvania, produced the majority of the slate in this country. If you've seen slate shingled roofs, that came from the slate of Pennsylvania.
The slate mines up there, sure.
And you could drive up to Pen Argyl and still see the old slate mines. Mm-hmm. And those are the people that were yelling at their parade, build the wall, Trump. I'm telling you, I think he's in good shape. Anyhow, what I told you, you've heard the story about the spooky clowns. Well, no, that's not really true. But Congress, that reminds me, Congress is going back to work. Folks, we have to be careful. Danger, we should have the warning danger lights going off, the sirens. Congress is headed back to Washington, D.C. You thought everything was quiet for a while, right, George? Everything seemed quiet, but no, they're headed back. What do they have to deal with? A continuing spending resolution that Harry Reid, that does not care, has nothing to lose, said will not pass. They will not support it. They want a Supreme Court nominee. They want money for the Zika virus. And they will not pass this. There's going to be a major budget fight. Get ready.
Right here in this state, we've got a couple of things going under the radar that need to be addressed. One of them is that vote for allowing the state government to take over failing schools. That is a trap. You've got to vote no for that. That is a trap to allow top-down government to take over schools just because they think it's failing, they say it's failing, they'll take it over. And the other one is this Medicare thing, the collapse of Obamacare, as the systems are collapsing
Medicaid,
everywhere.
they want to expand.
They want to expand Medicaid. That is a next step into single payer, and it has to be resisted. Vote no for both of those.
George, I said in the opening of the show, the next president of the United States has to deal with the final collapse of Obamacare. Has to be dealt with.
Well, I would like to hear Trump talk about it.
And I will say this. I think you bring up a great point because I was going to tell people, it is September 6th. We're going to schedule in. I'm going to try to get State Senator Josh McCoon, State Senator Steve Gooch. We're going to start getting these guys back in here. Try to get the Speaker of the House in here, David Ralston. We want to talk to these guys about what is on the agenda down at the Gold Dome this year. The JQC, Judicial Qualifications Commission, that's on your ballot. opportunity school zones, opportunity schools, failing schools. That's on the ballot, as George. We're going to talk about that. Expanding Medicaid. Expanding Medicaid,
Sounds
Georgia.
good. Sounds good, but
Huh?
it's a trap. It's going to be so costly we can't afford it.
Those are things on the agenda. It's 9:48. I am your host, BKP. Look, if you send a laptop in the mail, let me give you, Mr. Comey, FBI Director Comey, let me tell you this. If you're sending a package, Director Comey, anywhere in the United States, they will give you a tracking number, okay? Keep an eye out in case the FBI or the black vans show up out front. They will give you a tracking number, and they will let you know when your package arrives. And if they lose it, you can use that tracking number to find out where it is. So you just can't accept. Hillary says, "Hey, we lost a laptop. It was in the mail, George, and we lost it."
Shocking.
Don't know.
Shocking.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got a big week ahead of us. Tonight, Turf Talk with the Bobcats. That's tonight. And stay tuned. After Oscar Poole's inspirational moments, it will be time for the Scott Farrell Show. That is America's behavior expert, Scott Farrell, coming up at 10. George and I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday. I have to keep track of the dates. Friday, we're at Sycamore Crossing. I don't know, playing in a theater near you.
Yeah, a lot of, that movie's back. Hillary's America. It's back on special run. You can also see it, I think, on the internet.